In this Fextralife video, I'm going to be showing you guys a game called Fallen Fates that is actually on Kickstarter. I just stumbled across it over the weekend when I was scrolling through it sometimes. In my free time, I like to see what's upcoming on Kickstarter. I like to look through video games and trading card games, board games, and see like what's being backed and like what's being developed. And this is a game that I just stumbled across while I was doing that, and it really, really intrigued me. And it's an action role-playing game. Big surprise there that I would be interested in it. But before I get into all the details of it, I want to show you guys the trailer on there because it really, really captivated me. I think it's very, very well done for such an indie game. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll get into the game itself.
The more I try, the more they come. What am I missing? How long can I keep this up? Can I keep this up? No matter how much I train, it's not enough. They just keep coming. No one has ever made it to the breach. It just stays existing out there, poisoning the land while we're all here dying. I need to go further, get to the source of all of this. Am I strong enough? I'm not, but we are. Fate has bound us together, and no matter how far we must go, no matter how many enemies rise in our way, together, no one can stop us. And as long as we're not alone, everything will be okay, Cat.
So the first thing you're probably going to recognize when you watch the trailer is you're going to recognize the voice. You may not know exactly who it is, but you know that voice is familiar to you. This is, of course, Ben Starr, who played Verso in Expedition 33, who was Kazan in the first Berserker Kazan, and was Clive Rosfield in Final Fantasy 16, and he's in a slew of other games, including upcoming ones as well. And that instantly is going to grab you. He is such a good voice actor. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times. He's really nice. And honestly, I can't wait to see what his career does. He is just on the up and up right now, and that is a huge contribution to this game. Additionally, the next thing that you're going to notice immediately when watching the trailer, or you probably noticed, was the music. It's absolutely phenomenal for the game. And actually, one of the composers that is a part of the game, he's not the main composer of the game, but has been asked to contribute to the soundtrack of the game, is Motoi Sakuraba, who is the Dark Souls composer. So if you kind of get that vibe from listening to the music, which I certainly did, that's probably not shocking to you. So he's going to be contributing to the soundtrack of the game. I don't know to what capacity yet, but that's absolutely excellent news. And lastly, obviously, you probably noticed the hand-drawn pixel art style of the game. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's very unique looking, and it just draws you in. These three things all combined immediately draw you in, and there's so much more to it than that. This being an action role-playing game, there are things about it that, if you like action role-playing games, are going to be more compelling to you. But those three things alone were enough to get me to learn more about this game. And this game, as I said, is being backed on Kickstarter right now. It's actually fully funded already after 48 hours. So whether you back it or not, it's already going to happen. There are still, I think 4 weeks or close to 4 weeks left to back this project if you want to. If not, you really don't have to. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. But I was just bringing it to your attention that this project is happening, whether you contribute or not. So you can definitely look forward to it one way or another. And also, the studio behind this title, Hibernian Workshop, has made a couple of other games that they had backed on Kickstarter. The most recent was Astral Ascent, which if you look at it, you can see the similarities in the pixel art and things like that. This game has a 95% all-time on Steam. It's not very widely known. It doesn't have the sales numbers of a big production title, but it is very, very popular. It's very, very well loved by its community. So I think it's safe to bet that this game is probably going to be very, very high quality as well. And as you look through the Kickstarter, I think the next thing that really jumped out at me when I was like trying to learn more information about this game is that they have a list of inspirations for the title. They have Zelda Breath of the Wild, they have Final Fantasy 16, Hyper Light Drifter, Death's Door, and Elden Ring. And those are all games that I like. So this naturally made me even more interested in this project. I'm sure a lot of you out there have played many of these games. And you can sort of see the Zelda in the gameplay, the way the exploration is happening. The Elden Ring influence comes from like open exploration, allowing you to discover secrets and hidden things like that. Since those are all games that I love, and I'm sure those are games that you guys like as well, that made me even more interested in this project. So the main characters of this game are Arven and Cat, which are the main guy and the animal, and the main guy is voiced by Ben Starr. And Cat is like this magical being that sort of merges with Arven and allows him to have certain abilities. You can see it in the gameplay where he does kind of like an attack where he like forms an animal shape, and it allows him to traverse the landscape in different ways as well. He has a hook that allows him to do this too, but there are, other abilities that you'll unlock. And when it comes to the combat of the game, the combat is supposedly supposed to include dashing, parrying and counterattacks, target lock, both basic and magic attacks, and gap closing with the hook. So there are a variety of things you can do. I'm sure there'll be like abilities, with Cat as well, or maybe some other abilities in the game. There's supposedly magic in the game too. And there are finishing moves that you can do if you meet certain requirements. Like when you're fighting an enemy, if you do certain things, you can actually finish them off. The developers have stated that they're huge fans of finishing moves in games, so they've added a bunch of different ones to this game, which is kind of cool. And there are also skill trees for both Arven and Cat in this game. And if you look closely at the gameplay, it looks like there might be multiple skill trees for each one of them too, not just a single one, but I see tabs there for multiple skill trees, which gives you some depth in terms of character development, like how you progress your character and the way that you play and your build is going to be made up partly by how you spend your points in your skill tree and how you're spending them on both Arven and Cat. And you can actually respec at will. So if you don't like your build, you can change it and try other builds, which I really like. This is something I'm a huge fan of. I love that Elden Ring has different ways to it's not very hard to respec. You can get lots of respecs. I like trying out different builds. And supposedly, too, the magic in the game, the spells of the game can be modified in different ways to change their properties. I don't know exactly how that's going to happen. It's not super clear, but that's a part of the game. There are also sort of like attributes in the game, if you will, that are affected by these runes that you slot into a sphere grid. I'm not exactly sure how you get these. They're probably from exploration or defeating bosses that further allow you to customize your build. Like you can prioritize attack or damage or health or, cooldown reduction. So there's that's an element of your character build as well. So between the skill trees and that, you're going to be able to make your own unique build for you, which I really like. Obviously, these sort of games, the combat's going to be fun and the exploration's going to be fun, but I do like more depth than just combat and exploration. The character development is a huge part of these types of games for me, so I'm glad to see that it's there. And on the bosses front, they have mentioned that there's going to be dozens of bosses, that they're a huge priority for the game, that they're going to have their own attack patterns, phases, and special attacks, as well as them being complemented by their own compelling soundtrack. So, I mean, if this all sounds like, something straight out of Dark Souls or Elden Ring, including, potentially the Dark Souls composer doing some of these tracks, then this should be music to your ears, literally. Pardon the pun. But it's really, really good news. Boss fights are the thing that can really put a game like this over the edge, like tip the scales, if you will. All the other things sound so great, but if you don't have these interesting boss fights and mechanics, it can kind of ruin a game. That reminds me of like Hell Is Us recently. Everything in that game was absolutely amazing, but there were almost no boss fights in it, and the enemy variety was kind of weak. So if that game had amazing, memorable boss fights, it'd probably be in my contention for Game of the Year. So I'm really happy to see that, that's a big focus of this game. And if you're wondering what platforms this game releases on, it's going to be releasing on PC, PlayStation, and Switch, both PS4 and PS5, as well as Switch 1 and 2. And they've said that they can't confirm Xbox yet. I'm assuming that means that they're working on getting it onto Xbox, but they haven't done so successfully, and they don't want to promise anything they can't deliver. So there is a possibility that it may be on Xbox as well at launch. I think that's just kind of up in the air right now. And again, they don't want to say something and then backtrack on it later. So they're not promising that currently. Yeah, it was one of those games that I was literally just, sitting on the couch watching some TV, and I was browsing Kickstarter, and I saw it and I thought, man, the Fextralife community would probably love this game. Every so often you get gems on Kickstarter. I mean, Divinity 1 and 2 were both Kickstarted. There are some fantastic games on Kickstarter sometimes. We brought you guys The Wayward Realms, which I think a lot of people in our community are interested in. That was also on Kickstarter. So I definitely think, you should definitely check this one out, whether you back it or not. Keep it on your radar. It's definitely one I can't wait to see more of, and you'll probably see more coverage of it on our channel moving forward. But I want to know what you guys think from having watched the trailer, from hearing these things about the game. Is it something that interests you? Are you going to be backing it on Kickstarter, or do you just want to wait for more development? Let me know in the comments below.